Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. Today is Friday, February 9th, 11:26 a.m. Um, and I titled this one Unlearning Trauma 2 or Part 2. That's just how it is. Okay, what I mean by that's just how it is. I was watching some of the Monique interview. Shout out to Miss Monique and Mississippi. And I always call them Mr. and Mrs. Because I have a very high level of respect for her. I have a very high level of respect for truthers, right? I have a high level of respect for Cat Williams, and that doesn't mean that you agree with everything somebody says, right? But she said some things, a couple of things that made me want to do this. Okay, one question she asked when speaking on Taraji Henson, um, and talking about her pay discrepancy. Shannon asked her something to the nature of, "Why didn't it get the traction that? Uh, why didn't when you spoke about these people, it didn't get the traction that Taraji did?" And she said something to the nature of, "Because it was the messenger. It was I called the names out." And anybody that's really a studier, we should look at Nana Steve Coakley, and Nana means great teacher, like master teacher in a sense, right? So when I say Nana, that's what that means, just to catch you up. Because I don't like to say terms, and people are like, well, what do you mean? But Steve Coakley is one of the greatest warrior scholars to ever do it. And something that he taught me that I forever am grateful for him to learn said, follow the money and name the names, right? And she said, basically, she used the Willie Lynch analogy, right? To where, um, you know, they make an example out of one and all the others fall in line or don't want none of that. And that's part of the trauma that I want to speak of, that makes us rationalize. And anybody that knows me knows I always say, be careful of rationality because rationality is very dangerous because rationality makes you deal in emotion and the illogical logic, as one of my babas would say, the illogical logic. And that's one thing that has hit the black community. There's a lot of illogical logic. And the crazy thing is that when you are a truther and people know that, you don't have no cut card and you speak what you feel. In my opinion, a lot of people have problems with direct people, right? Or people that say names. And one of my brothers, he said, "Man, you got to take a listen at that because a lot of what she says is going to relate. You're going to be able to relate to it because what happens is, um, our people are always looking for like followers, right? I mean, to follow. Pardon me. They're always looking to follow somebody. So whether I'm speaking on Umar Johnson, whether I'm speaking on Louis Farrakhan, whether I'm speaking on anybody that's revered and high esteem, right? People don't like that because you call the names. And one thing I always like to say is, and okay, let's just say if speaking on Umar, who is able to get away with a school scam, right? And also, our people equate truth to being messy, right? Or because that's just how it is, right? So in the rationality, they say, well, that's how people are. The community is filled with scammers. Uh, that's just how it is. Well, you can't really do nothing about all this rationality, which further heightens the sickness and condition of our people. But yet we are in this fantasy that the black community is just going to fix itself, right? that through some magical thing, we're just going to come together and we're going to build these utopias and everybody's going to get along and we're going to set our differences aside. In trauma, one thing that I think when you get into MK Ultra, right? And trauma-based mind control. When you watch a lot of these documentaries and you watch how they induce trauma on you so bad that it splits the personality, right? It splits the person's personality. So then you kind of, in my opinion, or my interpretation, I don't want to say that's how you get multiple personalities, but in a sense, I do. So, in the trauma of us saying that's just how it is, because we got to know that we come from a long line of trauma, right? From slavery to the 60s to up to now to whenever you were born. Think about some of the things that you heard your family say or you heard your family rationalize when it came to traumatic problems in your family. Well, just be quiet on that. That's just how it is. And this is how we teach children. And this is what we have to unlearn. We have to unlearn that when somebody is doing something wrong, that it's not okay. It's not okay that there are more like them in the community. It's not okay. It's not okay for somebody to run a scam on people. And because you've had platforms that support it, that doesn't make it okay. It's not okay for a man or a woman to touch on a child. Whether they're mega or whether they're minor. It's not okay. We have to learn though that phrase. It's not okay. Because what happens in the trauma is it begins to be normalized. So abusive children begin to be normalized. Because you ever heard somebody say, well, that's how my mama dealt with me. That's how my dad dealt with me. So that's how I'm going to deal with my children. And a lot of times for us, when we use the word black sheep, a lot of times the black sheep is the curse breaker. This is why you're not accepted. This is why nobody wants to hang around you. Because you're stirring up that trauma that is in them. And that's just how it is. That's peace. That's don't disturb my peace. And that's just how it is to be sexually abused. That's just how it is to pimp on a woman. That's just how it is to kill your own people. That's just how it is to tell a woman sex sells and then call her a 304 when she's selling her body. Unlearning this trauma. Get what I said? There's a phrase, and you know it. Sex sells. The industry tells women that are females that if you want to make it, you're going to have to be a little bit more provocative. So when we're speaking about the horror culture, what's the rationality behind it? Right? You get what I'm saying? Am I making sense? If I'm making sense, hit one or give me a fist or something in my comments. If I'm making sense. If I'm not, comment. See, I'm open. I'm open because we have to learn how to have dialogues. Instead of getting mad of what I say about Umar Johnson because you have hyped him up and you revere him. and you like the rhetoric that he speaks, ask me, why do I feel that way? Because you know what my question is going forward? Don't question me if you're not questioning him. If you're not questioning him on why he's not providing what he has been saying he's providing, don't question me for talking about it. If you didn't question the jab, don't question me. Because that's just how it is. We teach fear. We teach that just kind of be quiet. Don't stir the pot. And if you don't stir the pot, it's gonna burn anyway, right? But all of this is rationality of how not to deal with something. When you bring up certain things, before I end it, I talked about Karinga, Ron Karinga. And when you talk about certain things, you see what a person is attached to. And let me say this: if you want to celebrate that, then do that. But do not disturb the people that want to speak about the thing in its entirety. Because see, that's how we were duped into religion. You never think about it truthfully. Like I said, if you don't agree, say it in my comments. Say it under this post. But that's how we were duped into religion. Because were you really given the choice to study all religions of your own, or were you following the one that was put on you and your family? If you were Christian, chances are your mother was Christian, right? Am I right? If you were Muslim, chances are your father or your mother was Muslim. Am I right? If you were JW, it's chances are you grew up in that type of household. You get what I'm saying? Social learning theory. We learn from the environment around us. We learned how to be gangsters. We learned how to be NIGGASs, not Negasses. We learned how to do drive-bys. Now, go on and find your knowledge and try to rationalize drive-bys and unaliving your people. We learned being crack dealers, right? They use music. They use movies. Then we have personalities that call themselves Nino Brown, who was one of the biggest cowards, character or not. Didn't he use a little girl as a shield in a shootout? But these are the personalities that you name yourself after and revere. Remember, naming is so important. The names you take on is so important. Unlearning the trauma. Unlearning the trauma that, like I said in my last video, unlearning the trauma that we as black males was told about women and love. This new breed of males is so cowardice. This new breed of males is so sassy. I won't say sassy, right? This new breed of males is so sassy. Because if you read in their comments, this is the insecurity of these new males. That if you are having a decent conversation with a woman, God forbid if you agree and defend her, the insecurity in them and the trauma in them, the unresolved trauma of whatever heartbreak they went through, be it from their mothers, be it from relationships that didn't work out, be it from co-parent relationships that just didn't work out, the insecurity of them, what are they saying? Tell me if I'm lying. Don't question me. Tell me if I'm lying. Oh, you simping. I had a dude the other night that I had to just block because I don't go back and forth. Oh, you saying all of this, but she ain't gonna give you no box. You call the sacred portal of a woman box. Europeans are square. That's why I say circle. Stand on your circle, not square. You say box. We and it's quite comical. It's quite comical. And these are old dudes. These aren't young brothers. If they're young brothers, I put my arm around them and say, "Look, little homie, you kind of got it confused a little bit." But these are old dudes still talking about I'm just running through y'all because that's what it is. But something that Miss Monique said in her interview, she said, "You got a problem. People have a problem with her husband being right there because that's what we rarely have seen." And again, tell me if I'm right. That's what we have rarely seen. Rarely. I didn't say it didn't exist. That's what we have rarely seen as a collective. It's healthy man and woman relationships where the black man is beside his woman. He's not telling her to submit. She's not telling him, I don't need you. They are beside each other. But let me say this, because what's my other phrase? The white ice is colder. You know who make Westerners or white people bigger than they are? Black people. Because I listen to things and how we imagine these people in our heads is bigger than what they really are. We think that the people that have stolen people, places, and things, right? Unlearning this trauma. We think the people that have stolen people, places, and things don't commit crimes. They don't have relationship problems. Oh, see, one thing about the white woman, she gonna do right by her man. One thing about the white man, he gonna do this. That's traumatized slave talk when you talk like that. One thing about white people, and then you run off the goodness of them and how they're so orderly. I would be orderly too if I created the whole system to my advantage. I would be orderly. That if I'm never on my heels, and whenever I'm on my heels by my opponent, I neutralize that opponent. I would be up too. But then the trauma in you makes you run down your people. Tell your people how they ain't worth nothing. One thing about black people, they're the most sorriest people in the world. That's learned behavior. This is what I'm talking about. And I said I wasn't gonna go this long. I'm probably gonna go a few more minutes and I'm gonna end it. But that's learned behavior, y'all. This is love. This is love. Listen to me with understanding. Don't listen to me with your ego. Don't listen to me to respond or debate. That's our thing. We want to debate everything. We want to show aggression, right? We want to show our control. We want to show our dominance. But when do we ever talk about just really showing love? As black males, I want to talk to black males on this one. Love, healthy love. How many black males do you hear getting up there talking about pouring into women? Oh man, here come that insecurity. Oh man, that's secure. That's that simp in you. Stop simping. Stop brown nosing to these 304s. And it ain't no better on the female side when you have females that speak highly, but they call them pick-me's. Because at the core of this trained behavior, they want us to talk like this, right? They, the Westerners, the system, the programmers. That's who they are. My bro said, what about the passport, bro? I got a question, say, what about the passport? You know what about the passport, bro? Gee, the fact that, again, I call them freedom papers. Because you see them holding up these passports, right? And they swear that, and they unalive them. They swear that these right here, this is gonna take us to our land of milk and honey. Because again, the perception in their minds is that it's so great over here. It's problems with black women. Black women is the most black women is the most aggressive. See, one thing about white women, they ain't that. White women love us better. But then ain't it, but ask yourself, isn't it more victims coming out talking about Jonathan Majors abused them? And what color are they? See, this is the learned behavior. Again, everybody thought, all you cats that was cheering on Young Jeezy, right? You was talking about how Jenny Ma was this. This is that learned behavior. Unlearn this. This is what I'm talking about. That when he married Jenny Ma and it didn't work out, how many dudes did you hear really running him down? See, we play like it don't exist. We numb to that. The fact that Taylor Swift is being looked at like a good luck charm to Travis Kelce. The fact that anytime you look at a Chiefs game and he scores, they show her. And she's looked at, like I said, like this good luck charm. Now let's reverse it. That's me reversing. Now, even though he ain't playing good, if that was Russell Wilson and Sierra, how would Sierra be treated? Oh, she a 304, man. She messed with Future, all of this. Look at how we talk about each other. Again, one thing about Taylor Swift, she's blah, 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 blah. One thing about this, one thing about white folks. That's slaves being obedient to their earthly masters. Yeah? Trauma. You don't even want no smoke. For those of us that talk about focus on them, we ain't ready. We're not ready because we got to deal with internal issues. You are internally traumatized from your childhood. Deal with it. It's okay. Listen, I got brothers and sisters that I talk to faithfully about me going to therapy. Look at my threads. I got nothing but I'm talking about my therapy. Because I had traumatic events in my life. I grew up with cerebral palsy, so life wasn't the best to me growing up. It wasn't the worst, but there were events that left things in my mind, and I find myself at 42 years old sitting in therapy talking about it. It's okay. Go back to what I said, that phrase earlier in the video. It's okay. See, that's the thing. Nobody ever told us it was okay. Nobody ever told us it was okay. They just told us, well, that's the way it is. Hence the title. Well, that's the way it is. Well, you just got to keep on going. But think about it. As we were enslaved, snatched off those ships, whether you believe them ships came or not, don't get in my comments talking about, well, where the slave, well, if it were this, we not, see, again, that's that foolishness. Think about it. The trauma that happened of being separated from your family. Did they have time to grieve? Did they have time to mourn? No. What did they have? What were they taught to do? What did they have to do? Just keep on pushing because that's how it was. And we still reeling from that, y'all. Listen to what I'm saying. See, that's what y'all do. Y'all shun the voices that get up here and pour their hearts out to you. But if they saying Big Papa hit them cash outs and talking about something fantasy, you all in. Adjust your lenses, y'all. Adjust your lenses. You'll see so much better. See, the love is in the tough love. So we got to have tough conversations. That's how family healing happens. Talking about what that uncle did to you. Talking about what that aunt did to you. talking about what your sister done, talking about what your brother done. Now, like Miss Monique said, hey, some people you got to leave them where they are. But that's up to you and your discernment, your intuition, internally. It's not your out tuition, it's your intuition. Right? So I want us to see. This is why I said a part two, because she motivated me. I got up right then and made this. It's okay, black men. It's okay to love. See, your home is peace. Your kingdom is your paradise. That's your peace. It's okay to love your woman. It's okay to sing to your woman. It's okay to pour into her, tell her how much she means to you. It's okay to dance with your children. It's okay to love on your children. Look, I play dinosaur with my granddaughter. I make dinosaur noises. Now imagine me with cerebral palsy crawling on the floor being a dinosaur for my little baby. These are the moments she gonna remember. Not me sitting somewhere talking about 304s and how black woman, because she's a representation of that. Well, you know, black women ain't that. Your children hear this. One thing about black sisters, your sons hear this. When I say choose better, it's your choice. Nobody never told you that. When it comes to abortions, them Westerners got y'all out there talking about it's your choice in your body. It's your choice in your body for who you allow in your portal. That's your choice too. So when y'all say what single by choice, you choose the man that you are going to breed with or create with. Breeding sounds so, but you choose the man, fellas. You choose that woman. Stop acting like it just happened. Now it might did because you didn't think it out, but we got to select better. And you know what? Something I also said before I wrap this up, because I'm approaching 30 minutes, but it's flowing. Something I said, and I tell one of my close brothers, I tell my close people this all the time. Something that we got to unlearn too is I ain't perfect. Now, what I mean by that when we show consistent or good patterns within yourself, not just me, within yourself, don't apologize for being correct. Stop saying, well, I ain't perfect, because you know what you're doing? You're giving a disclaimer to make somebody else feel comfortable about theirs. We always talk about, boy, I get down on your level. Sometimes you got to make people come up as above, so below, right? Sometimes you got to make people come up to your level. You ain't always got to get down. Now, sometimes you got to. Sometimes you got to get down there and remind them, but it's balance. It's balance, y'all. The passport bros are hurt. They're a bunch of lames that got to go over somewhere else. And guess what they preach? The whole product. All black women in America are all black females. Now, Western women do have a problem. Houston, we do have a problem. But again, in that reflection, like I talked about Miss Monique and Mr. Sidney, we are complements. So one thing that I hate, and I always tell my people this, that when you speaking on the conditions of women, right, fellas? When you speaking on the conditions of women, make sure you speak on the conditions of males too. Sisters, when you speaking on the conditions of males, make sure you speak on the conditions of females. Because this is why we having these problems, because everybody want to act like they going to Bible study. Everybody want to act like they so wholesome. Nobody doing that. It's just the other. I was on my way to Bible study and he just ruined my life. I was on my way to vacation Bible school and she just ruined my life. It don't happen like that. Remember, what did the trauma of this environment, social learning theory, the way this environment is, you are in a cesspool poison environment. So if it's piss in the pool, don't you think you're gonna itch if you swimming? But it's up to us to clean the pool. Stop saying that's how. Well, the pool always had piss in it, or Bison. So you know you get that illogical logic. Well, it always had piss in it, so I'm gonna piss too. So you just gonna make the pool even more pissy. You just ain't even gonna try. I'm gonna bring my children down to get in the piss too. I had to get in the piss. Why they ain't got to get in the piss? Make it better for your children. Make it better mentally. Make it better spiritually. Not always about this. It is about this now. I ain't gonna get up here talking about money. Money don't matter. Because that's the earthly God. Huh, TD Jakes? Mm-hmm. That's the earthly God. But teach them something else. Teach them a different. Give them good memories. I remember my mama used to. I always say this before. I keep saying I'm gonna go, but this feels so good to me. I always tell I tell the little brothers and the little sisters around me, especially in my neighborhood that I lived in. I would always tell the little brothers, you are somebody's reference point. Please listen to this part. You are always somebody's reference point. Even going to grown men and women now. That when somebody makes reference to you, it's up to you what follows behind that. What you mean? That when my granddaughter grows up, she's gonna say one thing about my papa, he always dot dot dot. Now what she will say after that is up to me. Stop putting that burden on your children. Stop thinking that if you put poor input in them, you're gonna get this excellent output. Because see, the knowledge is nothing without character. The knowledge is nothing without a good moral compass. You can teach them all the circumference and the hypotenuse and the Anunnaki and all of this. But guess what? If you don't teach them how to discern solid behavior, that same circle. Confusion. Right? I'm so serious, y'all. So take my video and receive it well. I hope it's received well. And if it's not, then that's just how it is. But we got to stop being so tender on the truth. Because either you want the truth or you want to lie. It's up to you. The choice is ours. Now, I know this system done told us that we ain't got no choice, whatever they tell us. But that ain't how it is. That's not how it is. That's how we have accepted it because that's how they have made it. Right? So I'm gonna end it on that note, and I hope I hope somebody got something out of this listening now, and I hope somebody in the future gets something out of this. And I end this in saying peace.